be skewed because those guys have missed time. But per game, about 100 and what? 100 yards for AJ, about 88 for Devontae. Warner goes for 43. Shit, man, that's the number. We're going to get Zander on here in a second. That's the number Zander was kind of talking about, between 43 and 4,500 yards passing. And by the way, that's not a poor prediction because that's what your expectations were. Do you know he's on pace for 3,300 yards? It would be his lowest output since 21. The Carolina freaking Panthers. Wow. That was so bad yesterday. It was so bad. Gary Cobb will join us at 4:30. I'll tell you what, man. I got to hand it to Zander, and I got to hand it to everybody. By the way, I'm going to say it one more time to you guys. You got a good football team. Nobody's debating that. But don't you want to win it? Fuck, what are we doing here? Don't you want to win it? This can't be 11-2. Okay. Phenomenal job yesterday on the halftime and the post show yesterday on the legendary JAKIB Sports Eagle pre and post game show. Did a sensational job this morning with John McMullen. It's funny. I think John's delivery is just a little different than mine, but I believe John and I are on the very same page here. And I think Zander, I heard him this morning going, that can't be like what we saw yesterday. That can't be. This is one of the only places that you're going to get. Dude, you're not going to go on IP and hear this stuff. You're going to hear rootin' and tootin' over there. Oh, don't worry about it. We're all good. Without further ado, let's bring our boy in. The co-host of Birds 365, Big Z, Zander Krause.
What's going on, Big Sills?
How you doing, brother?
Football Monday, my friend.
Absolutely a football Monday, man. How you feeling?
Listen, I feel good. I mean, I'm excited about the 9-win straight, but boy, these problems are tough to look past, man. They really are. They're tough to look past when you analyze. I watched this game now. I've watched it 3 times. I watched it last night in bed in the condensed version. I watched it again today between the shows. Every time I watch it, it gets a little bit uglier than the time I watched it previously. It's just hard, man. It's hard to fathom that it can be this inept in the passing game with this talent on the roster. And you were ragging on me a little bit earlier. And by the way, it was a fair rag completely. But you're going to hold it over my head that I predicted, 4,500, 4,600 passing yards.
Yeah, but your expectations.
Well, listen, let me finish. Forgive me. Forgive me if I thought A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, the top 5 O-line was going to be good enough. Forgive me if I thought the fucking Avengers that Howie assembled on offense would be better than the 30th ranked passing offense in the NFL. So was I wrong? Hell yeah, I was wrong. But we got big problems now going into the getting into the later half of the year here, and I don't particularly see the fix other than hope, which is the explanation would be the passing game is rusty. Jalen's not seeing things fluidly because they've been running the ball so much, and you're hoping that we somehow turn it on when we need to, or you're hoping that the defense can hold good teams to 12 to 15 points. That's where we are right now. And I don't think that's a great place to be, especially when you have a roster as talented as this one is.
That's my problem here. You're a good football team. You're an excellent football roster.
So we should be the greatest show on turf.
That's right.
You
should have these numbers right here.
We should have insane numbers with what Saquon Barkley's doing. I mean, that's in theory. Shouldn't that make it easier to pass the ball? You're getting A.J. Brown in single coverage a lot because they have to stack the box to stop the run. In theory, shouldn't the passing game be thriving more? Shouldn't Jalen's numbers be up this year?
That's
They're
right.
not.
You know what Mike Martz told me when he was the offensive coordinator of the Greatest Show on Turf. He used to come on my radio show every week and give me a synopsis of what he saw with quarterbacks around the league. He said that offense went through Barkley, and it made Kurt Warner's passing efficiency off the charts because they were so concerned about the all-purpose Marshall Faulk, kind of what you have in Philly. Can you imagine how much more effective Barkley would be if you had a passing game? He might run for 300 yards. I mean, you right now, Xander, get this. This is how my takeaway was. The biggest takeaway from that Carolina game was this. It's now get to a point where I've never seen this. Usually when teams run the ball for 200 yards, you're blowing somebody out. Now they're close.
Right.
You know why? Because your passing game has the 3 and outs. Does that number shock you that per game? Now, I know he's missed games, but it's not going by the number of games. Right now, A.J. Brown is the 42nd most targeted wide receiver with 6 targets per game, and Devontae's 45th. And Jalen Hurts is 6th in the amount of sacks taken in the NFL right now. And your passing offense is down near 30th. I mean, where in the world did Kellen Moore make this offense better?
Kellen Moore's done nothing. But there's something that I'm not thrilled with Kellen Moore, but doesn't it feel like, and maybe other people don't feel like this, doesn't it feel like regardless of who the coordinator is, regardless of who we assume is calling plays, doesn't it feel like the Philadelphia Eagles found or believe they have a certain way to win with Jalen Hurts? And that's lean heavily on the running game, very little complex passing concepts, and stick to 3 routes. I mean, they run go routes, they run slant routes every once in a while, and they run comebacks.
And they got away from motion, which they were trying to do earlier. They completely can that.
I mean, that's it. That's all. It's effective. It helps maximize, I guess, the quarterback's skill set, and it minimizes the deficiencies. And I don't think it's a great spot to be if you have to hide your quarterback from an offense that has 2 top 10 wide receivers, a great tight end, a number 1 running back in the NFL, a top 3 offensive line. Like, I don't think that's a good place to be. Now, the other thing is, I'm not in La La Land where I'm like, oh, sell every, the season's over. Like,
Absolutely
all right,
not.
we got 9 straight wins. It's not easy to win in the NFL. It's a good game. It's a good win coming off a tough stretch of opponents. And I'm not going to discredit them for that, but I can't say I feel great today. It felt like a loss yesterday. It really did.
Because things got exposed against a shitty team. I mean,
what did you think of the team airing it out a little bit? Did you think that was unbecoming or?
I liked it.
Okay.
You know what? I'm usually all over A.J. Brown.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't think he was wrong. Because
he definitely wasn't wrong.
When you point out all the missed passes he had and the opportunities he had in the game, and I don't think he was just talking about him. I think he was talking about Devontae as well, that they were talking just about the passing game that here, I think he came from a place of this. Listen, we're going to beat Carolina like this, sure. But if we want to be an elite football team, by the way, that's not an elite offense. You have elite players. That's what you have. That's not an elite offense.
It's an elite running offense.
The players on it are elite.
It's an elite running offense. That's it. Jalen Hurts makes it.
The wideouts are freaking elite.
The wideouts are certainly elite. I mean, the fact that that's what I mean. Like, people are I put out a tweet yesterday when that got a bunch of views. Everybody's hating, all mad at me because I'm questioning the passing game. And I'm like, guys, we have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Like, can we not forget that for a second? Don't you believe, as an Eagle fan, I'm not trying to – it's great to win games. It's great to be 11-2. It's great to be at the top of the pack. But don't you understand, winning the Super Bowl is a different level. That requires a different level of you as a team, and that goes for every team in the NFL. Don't you believe the best way to get there would be utilizing 2 wide receivers who are top 10 in the NFL or top 12, whatever you want to call Devontae Smith? Like, these guys are non-factors in many games right now. And they're and quite frankly, it's an inept passing offense. I mean, what do they rank now? Now, they were 27 or 28th
or 29
after week 13.
They're
So week
29th.
14 numbers didn't come out yet because there's obviously still another game to
They're
be
gonna
played
be
tonight.
29th.
But yeah, they're gonna be even lower.
29th.
So
29th
I don't know how anybody could
29 out
reason
of
with that.
32 teams.
I don't know
29
how
out of
anybody
32.
could reason with that. That's not good. That's not a good place to be.
Let me ask you a question because you just mentioned about the players airing it out. How can I feel good about the win when the players don't?
Agreed, 100%. But is there like a, I don't want to say a code of conduct or like a rule, like an unwritten rule where it's like, all right, you did win, you are 9 straight. Like, should you have maybe kept that in house? Like, we could have that. We could speculate that in the media, but AJ Brown took a pot of gasoline and just said, okay, let's forget tomorrow, forget overreaction Monday. Let's light this fire, make it a bonfire that's going to last to the end of the season. That's what happened. I mean, you better believe next week versus Pittsburgh, it's going to watch. You turn on your telecast next week when the game is starting. The intro to the game next week from the announcers is going to be about the Eagles struggling pass. Watch. The Birds team is 11-2, but they're struggling in the pass, trying to find their rhythm in the passing game. You watch. This has become a massive story, and I'm not on AJ's case for being a diva here because how can you blame him? The guy's getting nothing as a top receiver in the NFL. But I do wonder if I was the coach of this team, I'd probably be like, yo, dude, I know. You think I don't know? But
Can I tell you what happened?
Shut the fuck up when you're talking to the guys with cameras.
Can I tell you what I think happened? They let it go as long as they could. That this has been manifesting since the bye. And they know what they're saying and the shit that I've been talking about.
Yeah, it's fair.
Since the bye about this passing offense, they did what I would have done. They finally had it. They came out. And by the way, do I think that they would have said this if they had lost? No, I don't. I think the only reason they did say it was because they won.
Okay.
I think if they lose, they don't say it. They move on. But get this. There's no question when you get every guy in the building making comments about the passing game, and dude, again, the players are not happy. The coach, Nick Sirianni, in his press conference, was avoiding everything he could about answering things on the passing game. The entire organization right now knows what's going on because you know why? I'll tell you where. That's a football team that's been so close to the brass ring that they know what they're doing right now after last year, the Super Bowl in 22, and what's going on right now is not good enough, Xander.
Yeah.
It's just
that was my original take about AJ. Like AJ said, you know how sometimes leaders in life, whether it's whatever you want to call it, whether it's an organization, whatever it is, leaders sometimes have to say things that a lot of people don't like, but it's for the betterment of the team or for the betterment of the group or whatever you're talking about. That was kind of my original take on AJ. Like, he probably knows he's going to light a fire right now, but he also knows that if this becomes a priority to the team, that's their best chance at having success late in the year. Maybe I think AJ's smart enough to know that. Listen, I'm AJ Brown. You guys got to use me if you want to be a great team, right?
But he also has video proof. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket science to throw on the tape and go, look at these wide open passes. By the way, he's running when AJ's wide open. Instead of letting the ball loose, he's like not trusting his eyes.
Yeah, I know. That's where, there's a lot of people, a lot of people are doing film breakdown and all sorts of stuff, and you can like who you're like, but I'm still hearing a lot of
it's multiple people doing it.
I know, but I'm hearing, in Eagle land, there's a lot of excuses being made for the quarterback. Like I saw one guy today who broke down the film and he's like, I forget exactly how he worded it, but he basically took all the blame off Jalen from missing reads. Like he's trying so hard to not turn the ball over that he's not trusting any read. And I'm
that's
like, okay,
a lame ass excuse.
That's fine. Like if you believe that maybe to a certain extent, but is it just the quarterback's not reading the defense right? He's not trusting what he's seeing because he doesn't believe what he's seeing.
Wow.
I don't think we should be making
that lame ass excuse why he took the sack instead of throwing it away. That was so terrible what he said. I mean, his common sense didn't even make sense there.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, look, isn't it kind of obvious that the passing game would be, I used the word rusty on Twitter today. Like They're rusty, dude. They don't pass. They haven't needed to pass in 9 weeks. They don't pass the ball. They don't go into any game with the expectation to win by passing the ball.
Yes, they do the first 25.
But it doesn't. And that's why they've been the worst first quarter team in the NFL.
And that's right, because the quarterback can't execute scripted plays.
Is that all on Hurts, or is there some?
Okay, well, let me ask you this. You spend an entire week, like Bob Brown said, picking up the 15 to top 20 to 25 plays that your quarterback likes. He's in the room. Musmeyer's in the room. Kellen's in the room. Stoutland's in the room. You're all in there watching films going against this particular opponent. You're sitting there picking out, I like this play. I like that play. They're tailoring those first 25 to him on what he likes. So you know exactly how you're going to start the game. Look, I told you before what a D lineman does. You work on your first 3 pass rush moves that you're going to have against an offensive lineman based on his weakness, whether he has a slow left foot, whether he can't take a bull rush, whether he can, a quick move can get him with an arm over. You practice that stuff, and you're going over the repetitive drills doing that. You spent the entire fucking week doing that. Then you go off those first 25. Then you go into situational play calling. 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 2nd and 9. That's what those sheets are. For them to be able to fumble around the way they do, you said it last week when you went like this. Jesus Christ, man, a guy had a 12-yard run. They went pass, kick. Yeah. And you're sitting there going like this. Really? What the fuck is that, man?
It's a little hard to blame the coaches right now.
I would take Jalen out of that decision-making, and I would say this is what we're running because that's what they do when they get off script.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to blame the coaches right now, especially when you see some of the film. Like, did you see that one play? I think it was the 2nd or 3rd play of the game for the Eagles, and A.J. Brown is
wide open.
Literally 15 yards in front. There's nobody there. And it looks like I can't tell, obviously, from the film. You can't see the
the one that he ran out of bounds and threw it out of bounds when he went to the right?
Jahan Dotson in the flat. And it's
okay.
I don't know. I mean, look, we're winning a lot of games. It feels great, but now I'm starting to get the feel like last year, where it's like every rebuttal to anybody that says anything is 11-2. That's it. All right, good. You're right.
Or you're hating on the quarterback.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't care what people. I've been one of Jalen's biggest supporters on the internet for the last year, so I don't give a shit what people tell me about that. I'm calling the spade. I mean, listen, when he does great, he does great. When it looks bad and it looks like it could become a problem in the offense, you got to call it out, and that's where we are right now. And I think with the offense as talented as it, John said it this morning. I wonder what Jeffrey Lurie's thinking when he closes the door on his office at night. Like, what is he good with it? Is he completely cool with it? Like, because one dude was challenging me last night. I put up the bottom 5 passing teams in the NFL. He's like, we have Saquon Barkley, you fucking idiot. And I'm like, oh, okay, buddy. No, you're right. I forgot we had Saquon Barkley. But if you believe that this organization is happy to sacrifice any sort of a competent passing offense with 2 guys who are making $50+ million between A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, 2 guys who are ranked top 10 in the NFL, with a running back who's best in the league, with a top 3 offensive lineman that's making $100 million, and a quarterback that's making $50. If you think this team is fine to sacrifice any ability to pass the ball and be ranked 31st in the NFL, or whatever they're ranked, 29th, to have a historic running season, I think you're absolutely delusional and insane.
The only reason it's going through the front door and out the back door is because they're 11-2. It's the only reason. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to ride this as long as they can because they know it's not sustainable. And that's when they're going to come up. Because here's the one thing I'll say to you. If something goes sideways here, and because you're so one-dimensional right now. But here, Xander, you said it last week, and you're right. Hey, Sills, they're one-dimensional, but who stopped them? No one. So there's something to that. No, until someone stops them, like and stopping the push.
Jeff Kerr gave me a good thought today because I asked him. I'm like, well, Jeff, and I brought up that exact point, right? Of like, I have been saying to you and John over the last 4 weeks. Admittedly, I have said to you guys I believe we can win with what we are right now because our running game is so good and our defense is so good. It doesn't seem like anyone has gotten in our way. And we beat the Ravens, like we beat the Rams,
Yeah.
we beat all these great teams. And I'm like, listen, look, this is proof of it. And then you see this game and you're like, and I asked Jeff Kerr, I said, is this I know the Panthers didn't win, but is this a blueprint for how to beat the Eagles? Because think about it. Saquon got his yards. The Eagles running attack got their yards. They 209 yards rushing yesterday. Everybody got their yards.
6 yards a carry.
Defense gave up 16 points yesterday, Sills. Defense didn't have a bad day.
Nope.
I mean, it wasn't their greatest game, but they didn't have a bad day.
But look what happens when you don't.
But
look what happens when you don't play a superstar game.
Well, and then Jeff Kerr said to me, I think you're right. I think it was the Ravens that put the blueprint out, though. I know they lost last week, but they showed you how to keep that in reach like they did. And the Ravens squandered it last week by not capitalizing on offense in the first 4 drives and late in the game. And I'm like, shit, you might be right because, that Ravens game we won and it was good, but we didn't look super prolific in that game. It was one of those games that was grinded out to the fourth quarter. Saquon had a big 25-yard run and the game was over. And now I'm wondering, like you said, are they catching up to, like, you're not going to stop Saquon. You're not going to completely take him out of a game. But if you can keep your team in the game, the Eagles are going to give you chances. They're going to give you and that's the blueprint on beat. Yes, because they can't pass the ball.
Well, that's right, because there's 3 and outs.
Think about it. You said it on the pregame show. You said, look out for Carolina. They're going to want to have 7+ minute drives with 12 to 14 plays so that they can keep that offense at bay. Eagles won't be able to score quick because they don't pass the ball well, and they'll keep them in the game for a 4-quarter game. That you said, this is what Carolina wants to do. Will they do it? I don't know, but that's what they're going to want to do. It's exactly what they did. Long, sustained drives, and it was a 4th-quarter game. Okay, now upgrade
in a last possession game for them.
Right. Now upgrade your opponent. Now you're not playing Xavier Stonehands Leggett, who drops the ball on his way into the end zone. Now you're playing Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, forget, everyone's talking about the Lions. Forget the Lions. Can we beat the Vikings?
The Vikings.
Can we beat the Packers again? Like, these are teams that have that are throwing the ball at a high level.
And running it.
Right. I don't know, man. I think it's fair to question this. Like I said, I'm not going to hang my hat. It's Overreaction Monday. We're going to sit here. We're going to talk about it. We have a job to do. It's our job to sit here and discuss this game. I'm going to turn the page and look forward to Pittsburgh. That's a tough opponent next week, and the Birds have a lot to prove and a lot to fix now going into these weeks. If I'm the Eagles, I'm taking it as an opportunity to grow and get better. But it all comes down to one guy, and that's Jalen Hurts.
The defense now. What'd you make of the pressure on Bryce Young yesterday, and what'd you make of the tackling yesterday against that Carolina Panther team?
Good. I mean, I didn't see anything crazy. I mean, they gave up, 302 yards, 16 points. They tackled well. They had some big hits. CJ Gardner. That's what I love CJ Gardner-Johnson for. Like, that's how you make an impact as that type of player. You have a big hit early in the game. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I didn't think they were the problem yesterday. That's for dang sure. I mean, they couldn't score. The offense couldn't score versus the one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Like, I don't think this game is hard to analyze.
What'd you make of Slay's play?
Yeah, I was saying, I was watching the game and I was saying, Sills has been on my ass about Slay, and I've been telling him he's been holding up. He wasn't holding up great yesterday. He was getting beat, but listen, got to give him credit because he did bounce back, and he was great on that last drive that the Panthers had. Two big plays there. So I gave him credit for that. But, it does seem like every time he's involved in a physical football play, right, he's coming up, shaking up. And you said that was going to be his issue, and maybe it looks like that's going to happen. I'm not sure. I'm not out on. I think he's the least of our worries, to be honest.
I wonder if he's going to make the year because he's just been in and out of the lineup the entire season here. I said it in the postgame show. Adam Thielen took your boy Cooper DeJean to school, and Adam Thielen is one of the best route runners there is in the league. John has said it, and you know what you really love about a guy? That guy's carved out a nice little career for himself in the NFL, and he's not the most skilled guy on the planet, but you know what he is? He's a savvy route runner, man. He knows how to get open. He's got great fucking hands, man. I mean, he's just a good player. And I agree with John. I think Cooper will learn from that, man. He'll learn that he saw how he pushed off professionally. How many times did Adam Thielen get away with push-offs in that game, by the way? 3 or 4? I mean, I saw some push-offs.
Adam took that whole
all
secondary
on
to
him.
school. Adam took that whole secondary to school, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Cooper
Well, he knows how to get open in that zone.
Yeah, he does. He's a savvy vet. He's a good player, Adam Thielen. He was like, yeah, he was. Someone said it yesterday. I think it was Akbar. Akbar, if it was you, I'll give you credit. I think it was you, brother. He's like he's Cooper Kupp before Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
He's that type of receiver. So yeah, listen, ugly game, right, Sills? I mean, it's an ugly game. It's you're just not feeling good as an Eagle fan after it. And I think the way people are reacting, I'm just talking about X because I put out one tweet. Now I got my mentions have been nonstop for the last 2 days, day since I posted it about people crying about the fucking Eagles. And I'm like, boy, everybody gets on the defensive so quick. All I'm saying is, do you want to be bottom 5 in passing? Probably not. But everybody's all defensive, and that might tell you all you need to know.
Do you want to win a Super Bowl, or do you want to just be a good team? Which is it? Okay, right now you're a good team at 11-2. You're not a great team. You have not proven anything that you're a great team. Really, nobody has this year in the NFL proven that they're a great team. The Bills tripped up. Dude, nobody in the league has proven it. However, the one thing the Eagles have done, they have proven they're great at one thing. You know what that is? Lining up and fucking taking your ass to the ground when it comes to running the ball. Okay? That's the one thing of all the teams in the league that they have done better than anybody, Xander, is run you over. Okay? Nobody's done a better job of it. I've seen Baltimore stopped. I have seen a lot of people stop. I have not seen the Eagles stop, especially in this streak. Now, the point will be again, is that good enough to win it? And yesterday, it was almost not good enough to beat Carolina. That was my real big takeaway, was that, Jesus criminy, they had one of their better rushing performances of the year, and they still almost lost against a team who's going to have the 4th pick in the draft in April. Damn, dude. You can't be flopping around like that. And like you said, I don't really think they played awful on defense. They were okay. Couple missed tackles here, there. Nothing to cry about. 16 points. You're still going to be tops and giving up point differential. I mean, right? I mean, dog. I came away with that game the same way the players did. The players hated that win. But yet everyone's supposed to be happy about it when the organization's aggravated, the quarterback's even aggravated. And by the way, Jalen, to his credit, Jalen addressed it after the game saying, it starts with me here, man. I've got to be better in the passing game. But at the end of the day, those words, they fall short to me because this has been an all-year deal, Xander.
Yeah, but didn't Hurts also skate by some accountability yesterday?
Of course,
like, I know we said he didn't have a good game, but like he also said something about the coaches where it's like, I'm just doing what I'm asked, and that would insinuate that Hurts' belief is I had a bad day, but the problems on the passing offense are not me. They're coaching and this big overall.
He's very sensitive on the optics that people, how they perceive him. Don't ever tell me that he doesn't care how people perceive him. He does, because the way he talks, hey man, I do what I'm told to do. Hey guy. Okay. No, you don't. Okay. No, you don't. Because if you're told to do, you'd follow along on the first 25 and let the fucking ball go. And it got a guy streaking down the middle of the field there wide open. Instead, what do? You pull it back and you take off running for a 5-yard gain instead of a 45-yard explosion play. You're right. I'll tell you what, if Jeffrey Lurie is watching some of the clips that have been put out and posted, and you're watching some of his $25 and $35 million wide receivers wide open like that, I don't know how you're happy.
I don't either. Now, Nick just spoke to the media when we were on here. I'd be curious to see what he had to say, but I'm sure he just gave you the same word salad he always gives. But yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know what to feel right now because I don't want to be the dude who's like, all right, I'm out on the season. But at the end of the day, do I feel like we can win big games consistently with this passing offense? No, I don't. And I mean,
do you think you can be a contender in the postseason with this offense?
I mean, let's look at the playoff picture for a second. I mean, this is what we're looking at right here. I'll bring it up on screen so everybody can see it. This is what we're looking at in the playoff picture. So you got the Lions and the Eagles. We're not going to lose the 2 seed. I think it was Philly Don put in a super chat here. He said we're going to be lucky to get the 3 seed. Philly, I don't think we're going to lose the 2 seed because if you look here, the West and the South are, they're 7-6 and they're 8-5. So I don't anticipate the Seahawks or the Bucs catching the Eagles in records. So
Philly, Don, even if the Vikings and the Packers have 12, 13 wins, they're still a wild card because
they're in the North. Yeah, exactly. So they're not.
The Lions are going to win that division with a great record. Honestly, hey, Philly, you could have a wild card team and 2 wild card teams out of the North, Xander, with 13 wins, and you can have a 9-win team with the 3 seed or the 4 seed with the West and with the South because they were division winners.
Right. I mean,
That's
look
how that works.
Look at the teams, though, right now. I mean, you got the Seahawks, the Bucs. People don't like to hear this. I don't want to play the Bucs. Now, we're not going to play them first round, obviously, but I don't really want to see the Bucs. And to be honest, the Seahawks are red hot right now. I think they've won 4 straight games, and Russell and Geno Smith is playing pretty good again. So I'm not saying I'm afraid of them. I'd rather play those teams. But
Sam Darnold had 5 touchdowns last.
5 touchdowns. Sam Darnold. I mean, did you hear Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson after the game? We're coming to be the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. They got Sam Darnold. DRC, I'm not scared. If you're scared, get a fucking dog. I'm giving you the truth, brother. Scared? I'm not scared. Am I going to be realistic that this team might not win a playoff game? Sure.
Well, here, let me show you something
here. Sure, go for it.
Let me show you something here, Xander. Go to the top here. I want to show you this.
Top this way?
Right there. Then we'll scroll down. Are you a better offense than the Lions? No.
No.
Are you a better offense than the Seahawks?
I think probably.
Well, your quarterback's not better.
Quarterback's not better, but, he's not playing better right now. He's not passing the ball better, but I think we're a better overall offense.
Okay.
If I'm an opponent, I'd rather play the Seahawks and the Eagles.
Okay. How about the Bucs?
The Bucs are a bit scary. I mean, Baker Mayfield's really had a good year this year, throwing the ball super well, throwing it a lot, and they're susceptible to make mistakes. But let's just pull up real quick the Buccaneers stats. Let me look at them real quick. They're 7-6. Baker Mayfield's already thrown for 3,400 yards. I mean, and 28 touchdowns. So they're putting up some numbers there, and they have a decent running attack as well. By the way, they got Bucky Irving. They have 2 backs, dude. I mean, Bucky Irving is 735 and Rachaad White is 509. All in all, they have 1,798 rushing yards on the year. Like they can run the ball too. And obviously you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin if they're healthy. That could be and the other thing is there. I mean, let's not leave out the elephant in the room. Todd Bowles.
That's right.
Jalen Hurts is kryptonite. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, we beat him in the regular season last year. Todd Bowles knocked him out of the playoffs twice and made him look like a shell of himself in both of those games. So I don't want to see Todd Bowles in the playoffs. Then you get the Vikings and the Packers. I think it's very obvious those 2 offenses are humming right now, much better than our team. And then the Commanders. That's my ideal first-round matchup is the Commanders. I don't see them doing anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't want the Packers.
I wouldn't want the Rams, the Falcons. I mean, I wouldn't want any of those over the Commanders. Now, the Rams got a big win last night, and they're kind of finding their stride now with everybody healthy. We just beat the Rams, but, I love people that say, oh, we already beat the Packers. We already beat the Rams. It's like, oh, I never knew that beating a team once guaranteed you were going to beat them again in the playoffs.
They seemingly forgot last year when you beat the Bucs, and now all of a sudden the Bucs beat the doorknobs off you the last 2 games, and you forgot that, right? So when you go back and try to get this, well, we beat them. Well, guess what? The Bucs turned around and waxed you in the last 2 games they've played. How you feeling there? By the way, Angelo Cataldi is going to be with us tomorrow.
Awesome.
So we'll get Angelo on tomorrow. Okay. How do you feel about going into this Pittsburgh game?
I think it's going to be a great game. I mean, it's going to be a physical football game, old school, Battle of Pennsylvania. I think it's a great game. It's got every storyline you need. Steelers are 10-3 at this point? I believe, 10-3. They're in the hunt looking to secure their playoff berth. And
Wilson's playing really well.
Wilson's playing real well, man. A lot of people counted him out after what went on in Denver, but boy, he's playing really good football right now. Should be a good game. Now, I don't know, I want to say if if Pickens doesn't win or doesn't play, then that should give us the advantage. But I mean, I kind of just watched the 34-year-old Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette get open all day. So, like, I'm not really going to sit here and say that Pittsburgh's not going to be able to move the ball on us this week. So, should be a good game, man. My early thoughts are that the Eagles are going to use it as a get right, not a get right game, but a game in front of a bigger audience. I think it's going to be the game of the week, right? I mean, you got the 11-2 Eagles, 10-3 Steelers, Battle of PA. I think it's going to be a big game. I think it's going to get a lot of headlines once you get out of Victory Monday here, and should be a good one. I don't know which way I'm leaning yet at this point. I really don't.
How about this? Dave Zagaro said, when asked about some frustrations about the passing offense in the locker room last night, Sirianni said he likes that his players care enough to feel the way that they do and agrees that they didn't play up to standard. Said that they have already been back in the building working hard today. John Clark just posted this as well. Sirianni says the Eagles were back to work today and the coaches watching tape and players were in the film room watching on the passing game. Nick says it's not any secret that we're not up to the standards in the passing game on what we have to do and where we need to be. He said he is glad that his players care as much as they do, and there is a long way to go when it comes to our passing game as of right now. So when you're coming out of a win like that, you now have the coaches and you have the players sitting here going, they got a problem. They've addressed it, and they know this. It's funny when you bring this up. Funny, I say it, you hate it. When they say it, they're echoing the same shit. Hey, I'm telling you, Xander, let me ask you this. If this guy was in Pittsburgh and they had Russell Wilson in the building and Justin Fields, you think Mike Tomlin would have benched Jalen Hurts?
Depends who you have waiting in the wings.
I just said, if you had Russell Wilson waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I think he would have. Mike Tomlin definitely would have. Nick Sirianni probably wouldn't have. Nick Sirianni's doesn't. I wouldn't see him making that type of a move, but I would. I mean, I wouldn't knock Mike Tomlin for doing. Look, people criticized Mike when he moved on from Justin. He was what, 4-2 at the time?
4-1.
4-1 when they moved on, and now they're 10-3. Or yeah, so that worked out. That move worked out well for them. But yeah, I think.
Do you think Jalen has played? If you had the reason why you can't because you don't have a competent backup.
Dude, you think AJ Brown's crying?
Do you think
George Pickens would be putting?
Do you think that Jalen Hurts has played poor enough in the passing game that if there was a competent backup, that they would have benched him?
Nah. No, I think the Eagles are afraid of optics.
29th in passing.
I know. I think the Eagles are afraid of optics like that. I don't think they have balls to make a decision like that.
Oh, it comes down to visual then.
I think so. Yeah, I really do. I mean, I think Jeffrey Lurie would probably step in and say, "You're not putting that guy on the bench. I don't give a shit what you say." I literally think it would come to that. But I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'll tell you what, though. People think.
Do you think in your heart that if you were the coach, you were the coach, and you had a competent enough guy where you thought you could win ball game? Hey, by the way, I look at it like this: Justin Fields could do what Jalen does right now. He'd turn around, throw a single coverage, and run. I mean, what the fuck else is he doing? He's not doing anything else in that game what he did yesterday.
Hard to bench a guy when you're 11-2, but
what? Mike Tomlin benched a guy at 4-1.
4-1 is a little different than 11-2 and 9 straight. No,
you know they didn't know what they had. Hey, by the way, nobody in the room wanted him to do it.
Can you imagine what George Pickens would be doing on the? You think AJ Brown's crying? He gave you a one-word response in the press conference. George Pickens would be slamming his helmet. He'd be jumping up and down. He'd be going crazy on that sideline if he wasn't getting the ball from Jalen Hurts like these guys aren't. Oh my goodness! There you go.
So
that's a good point.
You've got a guy that's now the 42nd ranked targeted player with 6 targets per start in A.J. Brown, and the other guy's 45th in targets per game when he's in the game, at Devontae Smith. I mean, you paid him $51 million.
Yeah, this is going to be our guy, so settle in, everybody.
Let's do this.
Settle in, Big Sills, because we'll be talking about this guy. We'll be talking about him for the next foreseeable future.
Oh, my
Anthony
God, I
Wilson.
love it. Are you kidding me? This guy gives me great content. All you got to do is put him on the field.
Anthony Wilson. I hate people that say, why do people listen, I know you might not like everything we talk about, but you don't really believe Philly media is the fucking problem. I hate people. Oh, Philly media. I'm like, yeah, Philly media is playing the games, right? I mean, good night.
Hey, Anthony, you don't really think that guy's playing well, do you?
Well, let's read a super chat. He says, I hate Philly media. This team has won 9 in a row and let them tell that the sky is falling. I've seen Hurts win with his arm. He'll be better. So Anthony's living on hope. I hope he knows that, I'm sure. He's hoping that Hurts can do it when he needs to.
Win with his arm. When was that? I missed it. Oh my God, it's the worst passing. Hey, who would have thought? Remember I told everyone, if this offense doesn't take off this year, I'm going to kill this guy. I'm going to kill this guy. Now you're 29th. Out of 32 teams, Anthony, be prepared to buckle up. It's only going to get a little more bumpier.
It may or may not. We will see. JT Philly checks in. Oh, look at those shoes in that picture. Those are nice. I like them. Last season, they were standing outside of the stadium with signs saying, run the ball. Now y'all arguing about passing it more. JT, you're right, but
that's not what we're saying.
Do you think, JT, and I think it's a fair point because, I did do that early in the year too, but do you think, JT, it's worth it to have a running game that's this good at the expense of a passing game being better than the 29th ranked overall with two guys who are making top in the league at their position and who are both ranked in the top 10 to 12 wideouts? Like if we had Jalen Reagor, I'd say, yeah, who cares? What the fuck are we throwing it? We got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, dude. We got really good players out there. Like you're talking game-changing players that teams would sell the house to get on their team because they don't have guys like that. We got two of them.
Let me make a point to you, okay, to what the top 3 offenses in pro football are right now. And here to that point, running it, nobody's saying not run it. The Ravens are number 1 in total offense with 422. The Lions are second at 394, and the Eagles are third at 377. Go down a bit, take a look at the passing. The Lions are third in passing in the pro football. They have 243. Do you know who's fourth? The Ravens are fourth in passing.
Yep.
Do you know where the Eagles are? The Eagles are 29th. Do you know who has number 1 rushing attacks? Eagles are number 1. Ravens are number 2. And the Lions are number 4. Those guys don't seem to have a problem having balance. How come the Eagles do? It's the fucking quarterback, dude. Think about that. The Lions and the Ravens, Zander, are in the top 5 in both rushing and passing. The Eagles are in the bottom 5 in passing.
Yeah, we stink. We're running. We are only a running team. We are now. That's what we've become. So it's like, listen, you want to run the ball and be an effective running game. I get it. I love it, but you don't want to only be a running team. That's what we've turned into. Only a running team. Let's keep going on Super Chats.
They have no balance.
Josh Herman says, Xander, I'd be worried about playing Washington 3 times. That's fair. The thing with them, Josh, is I like Vic Fangio versus a rookie quarterback in the playoffs. I don't know if Jaden will be able to do enough.
On the defensive health, because I saw Nolan Smith get trucked and owned. Okay? That is starting to concern me a bit on the edge. Okay? Was that because that was fucking Carolina?
I think he graded out pretty high yesterday. I don't know if you'll believe that.
He got blown up, though, dude, like a bunch of times in that game, and they got around the corner on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, we will. Brian Pumper said, I thought Jalen Hurts was coachable, focused, and the adult in the room. The brother looks like an asshole. Brian Pumper was always right.
Brian, boom, boom. Holy shit.
Look, he said, watching these fanboys defend a 19-attempt, 108-yard passing game is preposterous. Bro, that's like defending an Embiid 31.28 field goal game. It's actually a lot worse than that, Pumper. It's more like defending a 16-point game for Joel Embiid on 22 attempts. That's more what it's like to me.
Wait a minute, Brian.
That's good.
Wait a minute, Brian. You got to put the sacks in there. He only had 83 yards passing.
Good night.
Shit, man.
Jameson, what's up, Jameson? We are opposite of what the Giants didn't want to do. LOL. Pay a QB $51 million to hand the ball off to Saquon. I'm with you guys. Jalen's confidence down. I do wonder if that's part of this. I mean, look, like I said, you run the ball all day. It's going to get rusty. You leave a car in the garage for 40 years. It then gets fucking rusty, man.
How can you get rusty when the car don't work?
Because it sits there and doesn't get used.
All right, man. Dude, he got benched at Alabama for the same shit that's going on right now.
Wait, so one idiot last night, I think he's in here right now. One idiot. Yes, I'm calling you an idiot. On the postgame show last night, postgame show, he says, we have rich people problems. These are rich people problems that we want to pass the ball. I'm like, really? This is like having a mansion, a Bentley out in the yard, a Rolls Royce back in the garage, a big F-350 lifted, and then having $14 in your bank account. This ain't fucking rich people problems, man. This is bad priorities. That's where we are. Rich people problems. Let's do with that bullshit.
Hey, Xander, or better yet, hey, this is like having $100,000. You have a nice gold American Express, and you go to Denny's.
Yeah, right. Pull out the platinum card. Hey,
yeah, you're sitting there. Hey, I'll take the Grand Slam, and here's your platinum card. You're like, wait a minute here, guy.
That's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Rich people problems. All right, here we go. Warv checks in. Josh Allen went 9 of 30 in a loss this season. Not a word. Russ Wilson completed 15 passes yesterday for 140 yards. Not a word. Warv, do you think Jalen Hurts is as good as those two players in the passing game?
Yes, they do.
Well,
yeah, yes, they do. Yes, they do. A guy with 425 yards, only him in the
so
huddle.
Josh Allen goes 9 of 30 in one game in a one-off of a 7-year career of prolific passing. He has 6 touchdowns yesterday, and you think Jalen Hurts' trend of averaging 160 yards a game or whatever it's been this year is not a concern? Or if they're two different things, you're looking at one game in a sample size, dude. I think that's a dumb way to put it. I don't.
It's totally a dumb way. And when you got the skilled piece, dude, I'll say it one more time to you, Xander. I have no idea how Carson Wentz threw for 4,039 yards and 27 touchdowns with the trash cans he had. And this guy's got all this, and he's going to only throw for 3,300 yards this year. I have no idea how he did that. And this guy has everything afforded to him, and he's gotten worse. Hey, by the way, would you agree that he has gotten who got worse towards the end of their career in Philly? Wentz or Hurts? Passing.
The difference with Wentz and Hurts is that Wentz had
winning.
Wentz had this. No, it's not winning. Well, it is, but that's not what I'm going for here. Wentz had this insane ability in passing the ball that ultimately went bye-bye.
Yeah.
Jalen has always been a good player, but he never was like that crazy good, prolific. That wasn't his skill set, really. So it's not really that type of a drop-off. I don't view it the same way. But
do you think his injuries played a factor in why he also went the other way?
I don't know. Who, Wentz or Hurts?
Wentz,
definitely. That's a no-brainer there. Look at Kakawa Kiowawa. Is that how I say that? Kakawa? Xander turning into Sileo Jr.
Hey,
it's so funny. It's so funny how that shows you how successful Sileo is, because every time anybody says anything bad about Jalen Hurts, you're now Sileo Jr. That's like, okay. Any criticism of Jalen Hurts and you're automatically Dan Sileo. Unbelievable.
Hey, and by the way, one thing you got to hand it to me, man. I fucking stayed to my guns on it, and I stick to it.
Hey, listen, I've been telling you the last couple of days on the show, right? You're wrong. Well, hey, listen, we might want to wait till the end and see how it all plays out. All right. We'll see what happens. I'll see you on the flip side.
Xander moved the race up instead of halfway through over there at Franklin Field at the Penn Relays. He wants to get to the finish line here. I'm with you now. I got you, man.
Kikoa, I need to learn how to say your name. Look at that last name. Kiowawa. I don't know if that's his real last name, but I like the name. Kikoa Kiowawa. Are you Hawaiian or something?
Ayahuascas. How you doing?
Yeah, you might be joining Aaron Rodgers on the trip.
Yeah, he's about finished. That's for damn
that
sure.
Sucker. Anthony Wilson. Jalen Hurts has thrown for 300 yards in 13 out of 65 games played. For 250, 35 out of 65. Is he playing well? No, but he has done it. Dude, he's got Jalen Hurts. He's got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Like, throwing for 250 yards should be the minimum.
Hey, wait a minute, Anthony. Didn't you expect your offense and passing game to be third? Did you not? How about, let me ask you one simple question, Anthony. Did you expect your passing offense to be third this year or 29th? What did you expect it to be? Top 10? How about this?
Know, mate.
Top 10? Brian Johnson had a top 10 offense last year in passing.
Evidently, based on my prediction early in the year, I was thinking like top 5.
I thought you said top 3, actually.
I said overall, but what I guess 4,600 passing yards.
Yeah, 4,600, 35 touchdown passes.
So the year is 2038, and Sileo's still on YouTube. You predicted 4,600 passing yards. Sileo will be whining about that for years.
3,300 yards he's on pace for.
JT again with the kicks. Jalen Hurts is a 68% completion rating and a passer rating over 100 this season. He has not been bad. He's just not throwing as much as most quarterbacks because they're taking everything off his plate, JT.
That's right. He's 24th in attempts. He's 21st in completions. He's 22nd in passing yards. And he's got a passing offense that's 29th right now. And you're telling me you think he's fucking played well? Good night. I don't get it. I don't get what you see, JT. Dude, the passing game is not improved from a year ago. I don't know where you see, and he's 6th in the amount of sacks taken by a quarterback in the league. How are you? Hey, by the way, now do you understand what I'm talking about? Marcus Hayes, I disagree with him that when you take a sack, that takes you out of field position and you lose possession.
I don't know if it's as much as a turnover, but
it's not completely.
I completely see what you're saying. Where there's some crippling sacks that happen. Here, let me make sure I get all the supers from earlier. Flex, my bad, missed you. This offense shouldn't have no issue putting up 30 points. Easily, dude. Like 30 points should be the baseline for this offense.
Think of this. They're scoring 26 right now just running it.
Oh, my God. This thing could be insane, man. If we figure
it should be insane.
Rainy Boy says, let's get ready. Draft QB1 this season over with correct or start Kenny Pickett.
There's
none of the above.
In that draft. There's nobody in there.
You know, what quarterback you like right now coming out?
I don't like.
Not for the Eagles, just in general. I'm not talking about for the Eagles. I'm just talking about in general.
I guess Sanders.
Oh,
but
really?
I just don't like his.
I'm not huge on him. I'm not huge on him.
Dude, I'm not either, man. But they'll be overdrafted.
I think he's a little big for his britches right now. I like that. You know who I like kind of? I like that Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, from
he's not
Oregon.
He's not overly talented, but I like him. I think he's a pretty good player. Real quick, let me check if we have any more super chats, and then we will keep rolling here. Get to Gary Cobb. They need to cater the pass game to go dump off more slants, hooks, crossers. Stop with go routes every time we pass. Hurts is struggling clearly. Yeah, but I kind of mentioned that earlier where it feels like that's all they do. They got go routes, they got slants, and they got comebacks. It's like the 3 most basic routes in football.
What in the world do you think is Gary Cobb's on deck? He's in the green room. What do you think he's going to think about an offense right now that's 29th in passing? They're 23rd in attempts. They're 24th in completions. And get this, they're 18th in TD passes right now. And Kellen Moore was brought in here to improve the passing game. They're 11-2. They're a really good team, in my opinion. And by the way, I can't wait to get Angelo on tomorrow, too, because he's on tomorrow. And my opinion, if Jalen Hurts doesn't improve that passing game, they're a one-and-done playoff team. I mean, Baltimore and the Lions, they're in the top 3 in both passing and rushing. I think you have to be dual threat like that when you're in the postseason. All right, Xander.
All right, we got a couple more supers. We can hit him after G-Cobb. I'm looking forward to hearing what Gary has to say. Should be interesting to hear.
Absolutely. Xander, thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. All
right, well, all that being said here, man, there's no question. Fox 29's Gary Cobb. And, hey, listen, I'll say it before I bring Gary on. You're 11-2. That's a heck of a football team. Your quarterback's not. He's just not. He's regressed. I mean, he's predictable. Now, Gary may completely disagree with me on this, but I'll tell you what. The Panthers are going to pick 4th in the NFL draft in April. 4th. That's not a playoff contending team. Let's bring JAKIB in and get